So, industrial design, you have raw materials because you have a modular office or you have industrial rack in your studio or in your library or in one of the spaces you work out of your factories maybe, and you come back home and have an extension of the same in the house. So there is a bias opinion on this because people who are really into vintage work or excessive industrial work, they can have maybe an exclusive space of their own and stuff, maybe in a garage or something like that, where they have a complete industrial space happening. But the point is, in your house, if there is a theme or if there is a vision or if there is a design sense prevailing, then you basically have to avoid having industrial designs and stuff because it can feel as if they are cold and uninviting and stuff. Because normally what happens is colors of gray, color of whites, color of blues and stuff happen in most of the industrial spaces, and those colors in certain parts of the world or also depending on the demography and stuff and how you've grown up and stuff can be a little depressing and stuff. So a big no to that. At least I do not recommend that. Well, having textured fabrics or maybe warm lighting is a better idea, where you can include a little bit of wood and stuff like that. So this is number 8. So number 8 is fabrics. So the more expensive the fabric, the greater the product looks. Yes, totally. If you were to go to an expensive brand where you buy fabric in, let's say, thousands, the finish is going to be good, the look is going to be smashing, the design is going to be super classy, luxury and stuff. Not a bad idea, but the point is, for a home where regular people live, in that case, having a high maintenance fabric can be a bad bet. So you have to find a balance between not having too expensive a fabric. Even if you do have a high maintenance fabric, then try and have fabrics where the colors or the tone is easy to manage and stuff. Stains don't show, grooves don't show, and they're kind of easy to kind of maintain and stuff like that. It's very basic on that. So because when you have when you have the tailoring happening or when the sewing and everything happening, the finishing is going to look really good. But the moment you have let's say a very expensive fabric, you may not even want to lie down. It's like having a bed cover or something which is so expensive that you can't even let your guard down and lie down in it. So that's because we also have a preconceived mental conditioning or a fear on our head. Ganda ho gaya to kaise saaf hoga. So that can add a little bit of stress because you have dogs, you have children. So how the time what plays in your head is, how are you going to maintain it, how is it going to get cleaned. We have to dry clean it so many times and stuff. So avoid those kind of fabrics and stuff. Rather use fabrics which are elegant and easy to maintain and stuff. Statement lighting, this is one of the most important factors in any design. Walk into a hotel, walk into a restaurant, walk into a retail outlet, walk into your home, walk into a library, walk into a park. This is the most important element which people disregard because probably they've grown up or personal preferences say having dim lights and stuff. But the point is statement lighting. Statement lighting doesn't mean one kind of lighting. Statement lighting means all kinds of different architectural structures, hanging lights, crafty lights, the big vintage ones, the European ones, maybe the style statement is what I'm talking about. So having one stunning focal point is a good idea on in your showroom or above your head, maybe on the dining table, maybe in the drawing room, maybe in the corner of the apartment, maybe in the office or whatever. But you have to make sure that you do not have the task of frequent cleaning and stuff like that, because you're going to get killed if you're going to be only cleaning your light all the time. So try and take a choice or make a choice where you are kind of looking at a fixture which is practical, beautiful, easy to maintain and stuff, and cleaning is not a task. It doesn't take 3 people to go up. It doesn't take a ladder. It doesn't take extra people to come in to clean and stuff. Bulbs must be easily available. The wiring must be easily available. The colors shouldn't fade off and stuff, you know. So this is like a very interesting facet in design and architecture, lighting. And it shouldn't become a tedious task and stuff. Maybe if you were to follow a schedule of having one day allocated on cleanliness and stuff, then this is going to definitely help you, you know. And what is the last one I have written here? The last one is basically colors. The colors. So this is a very interesting, basic, but the most important question. Colors के color of the walls क्या होने चाहिए? What should be the color of the walls? Okay. So the point is that again, this is a personal or a professional choice. If you want a bold color, like blues or dark maroon or red and stuff, they can be very daunting and exhausting. You could feel exhausted if it's too hot. You can't relax. You know. So having a balance also in this makes sense, where you're feeling relaxed, rejuvenated. You can let your guard down. You know, having too many maroons or blacks can be depressing in summers and winters both. So try and have more of light shades like pink. Try and have more of creams. Try and have more of light greens and stuff. Try more of beige and stuff. Try more of colors which are kind of going to merge in with the textures and fabrics and the overall furniture and style statement of your apartment or of your office. Because if you're going to spend your time and energy outside, let's say in a factory or in an office or on the road and stuff, and you come back home and you have a black color and you have a gray color, you know, it can be depressing. And with the pollution and everything, we can't have a Marks and Spencer at home most of the time, because it may be an international color, but then for homes it's not recommended, you know. At least I don't recommend those. So for me it would be probably having a removable wallpaper, or maybe a color like an Asian paints kind of a thingy, you know, where they have you can always clean them strain free and stuff, so the stress is less. So let's say you walk in and you splash water, you got your dog, you got your child, you spilled some ink, you know, so they're easy to kind of clean and stuff, you know. So I've just taken one name of a brand, but there are plenty of those. And now in 2025 I think wallpapers are taking in stuff, so that reduces a big shitload of stress on you, because the cleaning is easy, installation is easy, maintenance is easy, and it's a one-time cost. And there's so many options. My god, I mean, I love looking at wallpapers, because the moment you see those, you'll be in a different world altogether. So these are the do's and don'ts you could do to avoid stress in design and architecture, in your homes, offices, apartments, studios, wherever you are, because you have to make the right choices and stuff. And it shouldn't be double work or for everybody and anybody, and you're not able to go out, you're not able to travel, you're not able to let your guard down, you're not able to do anything because you can't relax, you know. So you got to be easy on a lot of things. So hope these help. And the caption is 10 common tricks which you must keep in mind to kind of enjoy design and architecture, or design your own rooms and spaces and stuff. So hope this helps. Thank you for writing in. jkapani@gmail.com, jastinkapani.im@gmail.com, and jastinkapanioffice@gmail.com. So write to me, reach out to me, email me, message me. I'm there on Instagram. Thank you for your likes.